This car has been sitting in the corner of the shop getting no love. It is time to take it out for its first track day where I haven't blown the transmission. We are going to be testing some of Haltech's more advanced features, which is where I suck as a driver. I'm gonna use my technology to cheat. Upshifting and downshifting with a synchro transmission. This thing can rev match like modern cars do. You put minimal wear on the clutch and you minimize the amount of traction breakup on the track, which is a big deal. We're gonna go ahead for a little ride and see if we can get those features dialed in. It should be kind of all over the place right now because I just put generic values in it. She just keeps getting more and more drivable though, even with that tall transmission.
I remember you used to hate driving this thing.
Yeah, because I sucked as a tuner. I used to, but I still do now. My goal right now is to press the brake and then go down into second. Brake.
A little bit too much.
Yeah, so that's clearly too much. That's 30% more throttle. Now, going up, if I'm at 75% throttle, it'll cut.
Okay. I forgot how rowdy this thing was.
That was pretty smooth.
That was good.
Oh. Okay, so I'm in third gear. I'm not pressing the gas at all. That's so good for that transmission. Okay, yeah, so going into first, we have to tell it not to do that.
Can you try 2 gears down?
That's epic. And the reason it's doing that is actually the Haltech knows not to over rev, so it's actually cutting ignition to get the RPM to the right calculated RPM.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's anti-lagging because I'm overdoing the throttle. The ECU is compensating for me with that loud pop. I was just showing the guys all the throttle blipping. There's the throttle blipping right here and here, but you know what that tells you when you look even closer, when you zoom in, scientifically proven that this car fucks. Flat shifting up, throttle blipping down. You guys are gonna see me on the track, as long as I don't blow the car up, looking like I'm like heel towing on it. You don't need to do that anymore. The man versus the machine wins every time. I suck at heel towing and I suck at trying to rev match. Why not let the computer take care of all that for you?
Active handling didn't kick in, did it?
Yeah, I turned off active handling. So technically, we still have the power of 2002 ABS.
You won't flat spot it.
Yeah, I won't flat spot. This is gonna be a good track day. Joel said it best, let's party. We're gonna see how quickly we can get the thing loaded up. 501. So easy. The normal clamps, but the thing we kind of talked about when we first got the trailer is that some of them have to pull on an angle. Plop it in there like that. And so now, not only is this hooked around this curved part, but it's also got these two holding underneath those teeth there.
Right.
So that's incredible for what we need to do for it to go all the way up to that. Rear ones can still be this. At the end of the day, these are just pulling straight up. $518, even with a little adjustment for our first try of doing it. 18 minutes to strap the car down for us is actually a really good time. It's even quicker to unload this thing. On the day before grid life, God said, "Let there be light."
That's really
That is
right. God, I have an ND.
Yeah, you have the
on.
ND filter on, sunglasses on the camera, and there we are. That is insane. We could do it in the dark, or
Wow.
and then on top of that, I could go through the whole process of opening this up and taking this bottom part out, which is fine, but I left the windows open on this car for a reason. This is the moment we've been waiting for on this. I'm gonna turn off the backlight, we're gonna unroll the awning and just see what the mood light looks like in the location.
That's sick.
Yeah. We were setting up our like military cots, and Ethan has to bust out something fancy. We have no idea if we're supposed to send him this way, because like imagine Joel's sleeping here, and I'm on this one, and then I fell over. Like I don't know like what.
Why are you
correct
grabbing me?
I just just like I catch myself.
There's a long pole to grab.
Oh, thank God. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I'm rested, I feel good. Life's great. This is the first time I've gotten to wake up and then see all the cars that have made it after us. It feels elitist. Instead of being the other guy that's not even here yet.
You guys are all so late.
Yeah, now it's like, why are you still moving? I see Throttle's here, Larry Chen's right next to us. We all parked near each other, huddled up, because it is a little cold. Even if it starts raining, we have shelter. This feels amazing. And I slept pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, it was okay.
It got cold. We don't have power hooked up to it yet, so we can't run the heater or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and go get wristbands and whatnot, and see if maybe there's food. If you can't race, eat. We're getting breakfast burritos right now. We're gonna watch the Time Attack guys take it way more seriously than us today. I'm advanced, moving on up. We're in the peak of HPDE, which is a really good feeling. We're gonna enjoy this, watch other people. We got another hour before we jump in. That's Robin Shute. He's the current and last several year record holder at Pikes Peak. The dude's an absolute animal. He actually came from the Formula Mazda world. He had given me some advice a little while back when I first got that, but this thing's just at almost exactly a minute. He's here trying to set an official record for the Streets of Will, and a minute even when everybody else is minute 30, minute 20s. I did a minute 19 in my Formula Mazda, so he's 19 seconds faster than that.
That thing sounds sick.
He's probably got some sort of traction control, whatever. You can hear it breaking up, but clearly on purpose. But it's gonna be a little hard to follow up Robin. I'm just gonna have fun. We're just gonna go out there and see what this car does. Fell off.
No way.
It was certainly a very interesting first round for the car. A lot of really small things happened all at once. They were like, hey, 3 minutes, and then they said go, and so I was like, and I choked the car, and then when I choked the car, I keyed off, keyed back on, and then it re-enabled the active handling from the Corvette. And so,
so that's why it was so...
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. I mean, we have a lot of different things going on. Like as if a control arm was loose type of feeling. It's like doing weird, like stumbles. I made a complete shit show in that corner. And then the guy behind me spun.
Yeah, I saw that too.
hilarious.
I was like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah. On top of that, the fuel system isn't enough. We're dropping fuel pressure down to 20 PSI. I'm okay risking that for the rest of this weekend, but the reality is that it reduces how beautiful the injector sprays fuel. The car's got a lot of power. It's very finicky power, as in like, With a 2-rotor, because having 650 horsepower of torque on tap, it's like a shoot up instead of the 3-rotor where it's a completely more linear band. Speaking of that, in this car, when I let off the pedal, the car coasts. I'm so used to the 3-rotor now that when I let off, I'm expecting the engine to like, hey, so I have to use the brakes differently because of the different size engine. It's a very fascinating detail there. Throttle blipping works almost perfectly, except going down to 2nd gear, it almost shot me past a turn again. I certainly felt good in here. Work on the side. I was like, dude, that's really cambered. He goes, I didn't touch this side yet. And sure enough, I was telling Joel, I'm like, it feels like the suspension's moving. It's sloppy. And we checked everything, but checking it for the street is different than checking it for the track. You can't tell really, probably because the camber and the fish angle lens. This tire's now cambered out, and the toe, as a consequence, because the toe stays the same length, it cambered out, the toe held the tire, and so it's out like this. When it comes to being a better builder, you need to understand the cause and effect. Like, oh cool, I'll put this tire on at this angle. You don't know what it does. And now you know when you're on the track. So this one's at 2 degrees of camber, which is fine. We wanted to be at 1.5 or 1.9. Let's take a look. And it's exactly 1.0. So this one's closer to where we want to be.
Just the cone under the car you want fixed, or what?
I backed into that just to get out of their line.
Okay, how are we gonna tow this thing?
Ran out of fucking gas. No way. Whoa. Okay. Well, there's the pump. I did not know they looked like that. A motor that size shouldn't have that much friction. That means maybe a bearing on this thing went. This is 100% why you do not starve your engine of fuel. This pump is actually lubricated and cooled by the fuel. So I think what happened here is that it overheated. Because I was on that track the whole time trying to make it work, and so the pump's at full tilt. I think we might have just cooked it out of the lack of fuel.
So road trip to the shop?
When people say, get the bag, they're talking about under my eyes. Whenever I wake up, there are massive bags. It is day 2. I actually got here, I was asleep. Went down to like 40 something, and we realized that we definitely need the heat and AC thing working. We went all the way back to the shop last night because of the fuel system. We went and got a spare fuel pump, came back, got fuel because we didn't have any. We're gonna try and replace the fuel pump, hot wire the car for the new fuel pump setup, trying to get back out there for the first session.
We didn't really get no seat time yesterday, so.
Yeah, we got 0 seat time. Okay, that was fuel pressure. Let's see.
But you hear that whew.
Mm-hmm.
There's no check valve on this fuel system. So the fuel pump is going backwards. That's okay for right now, but we'll have to put a check valve so it holds the pressure going forward. We're gonna go ahead and put as much fuel as we can into this thing and keep it that way. About to break a 130.
Oh, sick.
That was at 131, and it says optimal 130. So that was a safety that kicked on for probably some reason, but it stuck me at 2,000 RPM. She's a very slippery car.
Yeah, I saw her kick out a couple times.
Yeah, she's really rear happy. The front just does some weird shit too. So leaking really bad. What's leaking? Oil. My favorite thing noticing is this red line here. The red thing is getting higher and higher. That's my wheel speed, front wheel speed. So you can actually see it increasing as I get more comfortable with the car. And then I had an oil pressure sensor safety kick on. Oil pressure, no oil pressure, but
We started dropping, and then something bad happened, because look at how much different it is. We have a leak that I noticed. Nobody else noticed. This is the hard part about track stuff, is everybody's excited seeing everything else. You have to do this. You have to focus. You can't assume a single thing when it comes to cars on the track. As a result, there was an oil leak, and now there's a massive oil leak. The car is really squirrely. ABS is kicking in, and it is making my braking times way longer. It's locking up kinda, it's not locking up, it's doing the weirdest things, because I think partially because the tire sizes are different. I was starting to get some consistency. I don't see a 125 today. There's something wrong with the way it's set up, and that's kind of the whole point of learning how to build. Something that's really distinct about this car compared to the 3-rotor or the FD chassis off the bat is that when I'm turning, if you let off the gas, so the car's just kind of in a neutral turn, the rear just kicks out. But if you give it gas, the rear hooks way more, which is counterintuitive with a default setup, because when you give it gas, the rears now are trying to power through and then they slide out. In this car, I don't know if it's an alignment setup, it might even be a suspension setting, but the rear, black and white, distinctly, I had to give it gas to go through turns, which is really weird. The Garmin thing's actually starting to pay off for that after the glow of racing. This is right before the bowl, and it tells me some really great data is you achieved your fastest time when you brake later 43 feet, harder 18%, and shorter. So harder, faster, longer. No, that's opposite. Shorter, softer. No, shorter, faster, less. I don't know. The point is that it shows me, hey, the one time I did it later, I came into it later, starting right there, I actually had more speed, 107 versus 102. So the bowl is definitely the area I was being very careful with, because this car isn't there yet. You achieved your fastest time when you turned in a mile an hour faster and came out of it 3 miles an hour faster. Apples to apples, that's not like hypothetical, it's what I did at some point. So I'm at 131, so this is like driver error, really. My goal is to get the car into the 120s. We might be done for the day. Fitting that went down, so I was getting oil spilling on my tire. Let me use that as an excuse. I think that the oil pressure is way too high for what's necessary, because I see it going up to like 130, and as much as some people are very particular about like trying to get super high oil pressure, this is the sort of result that'll happen. You're gonna put your coolers and fittings under way more load, especially at high temperatures. We are basically down. I did get 2 okay laps in. It's a bummer because like we didn't get the ultimate goal of this trip. We got to take the car out, and by itself that was pretty good. I need to review the footage and see what sort of changes to make, but I can't test any of them until we take it out to another track day.